Hey everyone, I'm Gabriel and welcome to Global Dad, the vlog where I share about my life as a special education teacher and my life of being a stepfather and having a child with special needs. Now for this first episode, I kind of wanted to share something that I'm really proud of besides graduating college and having my daughter. This is something I'm really proud of. So back in 2013, I was setting up an event for a local nonprofit, and I came across this booth that was called Be the Match. So I was curious, and I asked the lady, what's Be the Match? And she said, well, if you'd like to join, what we do is swab your cheeks, and we put you on the registry so that way you can donate bone marrow to somebody someday if you are a match. And I said, well, that's really cool. I didn't know that program even existed. And she's like, yeah. And you know what? We actually need minorities to sign up because they have the least people on the list, and they needed more people to sign up so that way there was more possibility of somebody saving somebody else's life. So the lady asked me if I would sign up, and I said, sure, why not? It's one of those things you sign up for. You're like, they're never going to call me, So I signed up, she swabbed my cheeks right there and then. I signed some paperwork as she sent the kid off. Later on, I got a notification in my email and I think in the mail that I was in the program. So fast forward to 2015. I keep getting a phone call from this number, and I didn't know the number, so I wouldn't answer the phone. But they kept calling me and calling me and calling me. So finally, I decided to answer one day, and it happened to be the Match. It turned out that I matched an 8-year-old that needed a bone marrow transfusion, and they were asking me if I would be willing to donate my bone marrow. So at the time, my daughter was only 8 years old, and I figured, if this was something that was happening to her, I would totally want somebody to do that for us. And without hesitation, I said, yeah, sure, let's do this. And the lady goes, are you sure? And I said, yeah, let's get going. Like, what do I have to do? And we started going through the process, and it took a few months of me getting ready to do this because, one, they go into your back with the syringe. I was going to have to be put under, and it was going to be my first time being put under, so I was a little nervous about that. But I managed to get healthier in order to do this. Now, the process with Be the Match wasn't hard itself, but I decided to get healthier because I wanted my chances of a better recovery to increase. So I started doing CrossFit, I started eating better, and I ended up losing 30 pounds before I did the bone marrow donation. So in June of 2015, I traveled with my family to Tucson, Arizona, and I donated bone marrow to an 8-year-old patient that had cancer. Keep in mind that during this whole time, I had no idea where my bone marrow was going to go after they took it out of me. I knew that I was going to go to a hospital in Tucson, Arizona. They were going to do a procedure on me to remove bone marrow from my hips, and then they were going to send it off to wherever it needed to go. I had no idea where it was going. I just knew that this is something that I really wanted to do. After the procedure, everything went fine. I was walking around my hotel room later on that evening, and it just didn't seem like it was much to me at all, to be honest with you. And I think that is all because how healthy I had gotten. So like I said, I had no idea where my bone marrow was going. But in about 2018, Be the Match reached out to me and said, hey, the person that received your bone marrow, they would like to contact you. Is there any way that you can fill out this form and we'll exchange your guys' information? And right away, I was like, oh my gosh, how cool would that be to meet the person that has my bone marrow in them? Like, I saved that person's life? How cool is that? So the family and we exchanged information, and it turns out that they were in Chicago, Illinois. And I actually wasn't sure like if they wanted me to contact them or they want to contact me first. So we did go a couple of years knowing each other's information, but we didn't really ever speak. And it wasn't until 2020, 2021 when I had finally reached out to the family, and I went ahead and texted the child's mom. So I texted this child's mother, and immediately I knew there was going to be a problem because there is a language barrier, because she only spoke Spanish and I only speak English. I never learned Spanish growing up. So right away I got on Google Translator and was translating what I wanted to say to her. I don't know if it was correct, but our messages got through to each other and we started to understand each other. So the family and I ended up texting each other for a while, just to wish each other Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, little things like that. But finally, in the summer of 2021, I said, you know what? It is time to meet this family. It is time for me to meet this mom. It is time for me to meet this boy that received my bone marrow transplant. So I flew to Chicago, and I had no idea what to expect, to be honest. I was at the airport, and I didn't know where they wanted me to meet them, so I called the mother, and like I said, there was a language barrier there, and luckily she had a friend with her that knew English, so they were able to pick me up. Now, when they first picked me up, I can't say that things were great. They literally picked me up in a busy airport. Like, I had to jump in really quickly, put my luggage down, and buckle up and get going. So initially it was a little awkward because, one, I knew there was a language barrier. Two, this is my first time meeting these people. They have no idea who I am. I have no idea who they are. But it was just awesome to be there. So as we drive away from the airport, the family asked me if I was hungry. And they said, Gabriel, are you hungry? And I said, you know what? Yes, I actually could use something to eat. And they said, well, how about we all go have lunch together first? And then we'll show you where you're staying, and then we'll show you our house, and you can visit and meet the rest of our family. And I said, sure, why not? They said, okay, we know a place where we're going to take you. So we went to this restaurant, and at first, her son got out of the vehicle, her friend got out of the vehicle, and Mom and I were the last two to get out of the vehicle. And then when Mom got out of the vehicle, she turned around, and I just happened to be getting out at the same time, and she looked at me, and she came and gave me just one of the most probably genuine hugs I've ever felt in my life. I honestly don't even know how to describe it, but it was this feeling. God, I can't. So, okay, I'm back. All right. So we had this embrace, and it was wonderful. And I knew from that point on that this trip was going to be amazing. So we went inside, had lunch. We went and checked into my hotel room where I was going to stay. And then we drove over to their house where I got to meet some of their family. So they took me back to my hotel. I stayed the night. And then the next morning, they said, call us whenever you wake up, So I called them when I woke up, and they asked me what I would like to do for the day. And I kind of just said, let's roam around Chicago and see what's going on. That's kind of what I like to do when I go to a big city that I've never been to. But they were very adamant about me going shopping for some reason. And I wasn't too sure about that. But they wanted to take me shopping. They were being very adamant about it. So I said, you know what? Let's go shopping. So we went shopping. And this whole time, they're all whispering something, and they're all talking, and I could kind of feel that something was going to happen, but I didn't know exactly what was going to happen. And finally, we get back to their house, and we unload from the vehicle, and they asked me to go around to the backyard. So there I am walking to the backyard through the driveway, and all of a sudden this beautiful Mexican music starts playing. And like I said, I don't understand Spanish, but I know that this has something to do about family. So as I come up the driveway, I noticed that there's a ton of people there, and there was a ton of people there, and the song's playing, and it's about family. And then I have all these people who are looking at me like I'm some god or something, and I'm like, and if anybody who knows me knows that I don't think of myself that way, but they're looking at me, and I have people that I don't even know that I'm meeting for the first time, and they're just coming up and giving me gifts, and they're embracing me, and some of them are even crying, which made me in turn cry. But I don't think I knew what the impact I was going to have hit me until that exact moment. There was a ton of people. So it was at this surprise party that they had planned for me, where I had realized, like, I saved somebody's life. Like, this boy is alive because of me. But I ended up spending the next few days with them, and I learned a lot of what the boy had to go through in order to get the bone marrow transfusion. It's almost they almost had to put him to the point where they're going to pass away, and then they do the bone marrow transfusion, and then the patient gets better from then on. And what's crazy is I was talking to the mom, and I believe she said that there was only a 3% chance that this was going to work, but she had a feeling that it was going to work. So she said, let's go ahead and take that chance, doctor, and let's do this for my son. Now, I'm glad I went through with it, because the process for the patient is actually really grueling, and that's why they keep asking you over and over again through Be the Match if you want to donate bone marrow. Like, every time you talk to somebody from Be the Match, they will ask you, are you sure you're going to go through with this? And that's because what the patient goes through in order to get your transfusion. So 3% chance, and I couldn't believe that at all. I was just like, wow, this kid had a 3% chance and he's fine. Matter of fact, he had gone to a doctor's visit before I had, maybe like a week or two before I had gotten there, and the doctor said he had a clean bill of health. And now the reason I chose to tell that story first is because I actually need your help a little bit. Be the Match has actually changed their name to the National Marrow Donor Program, NMDP, and they actually have a team that is going to run the Disney Half Marathon at Disneyland in September. So they went ahead and invited me to join it. Now, because I am a donor and I actually now have family in Chicago, because now that's what I consider those people, they're my family, I was like, sure, you know what, let's sign up for this. And my fiance did it as well. And I have to raise $950 that's going to go directly to the National Marrow Donor Program, which means a lot to me because I've seen this thing work. So I'm going to be running the Disneyland Half Marathon in September if you can help me raise $950. That's it. If you can help me raise $950, I will be running 13.1 miles through Disneyland. It's actually kind of something I've always wanted to do, but this just makes it a little bit more meaningful. Not only that, is I will actually be running this entire thing with my daughter in a running stroller, just that way she's able to be a part of it as well. So if you can help me out, I'll put the link down below so that way you can donate to my cause. You can check out TikTok, Instagram, my Facebook page. If you want to know any other information, leave me a question or comment down in the comment section, and I will get back to you. And always remember, this is tough, so this is my very first video. I hope it's not too bad. But if you want to hear more about my story, or you have something that you want me to talk about on here, because I do have a lot going on. I'm a teacher, a special education teacher at that. I'm working out a lot more. I'm on a fitness journey right now, and my life is full with Gabby's activities, doing Special Olympics, doing some get-togethers with her friends on the weekends and during the week. So my life's pretty busy. I will put a link to donate to my cause down below. And always, if you want to hear more from me, you go ahead and subscribe, and I'm sure to be uploading more content in the near future. Well, that's my story for today. And this is Gabriel the Global Dad telling you to remember to keep it simple.